week at this time, we get to go behind the fence at the White House with our own White House reporter from Turning Point USA, Monica Paige.
Live from the North Lawn of the White House, it's Beyond the Fence with Monica Paige.
Monica, I wish that we had a busier day to talk to you. I'm sorry that there isn't much going on.
Yeah, to say the least. I mean, it's been a wild 24 hours, let alone past 4 days. It's just been non-stop, as you can imagine.
Yeah,
Chris.
I can imagine. And one of the things that I do every morning before I get on my show is I go to your Twitter account, at Monica Paige TV, and I look at the White House schedule for the day. You post it religiously. So today we have some executive orders being signed. We have Trump participating in the swearing-in ceremony for the Secretary of the Navy, and we have Trump heading to New Jersey, Bedminster. What are the executive orders about today? Before we get into all the drama and the big beautiful beef.
Yeah, you can imagine that. Well, you know what? We don't exactly know what the executive orders could be. In recent days, the White House has been kind of on the quieter side as far as what the president's going to sign, what the president's leaning towards, what he's thinking behind closed doors. I mean, as you can imagine, because of the drama as of late, nothing's coming out of the White House. We go back there just to kind of see what the vibe is, what's the energy looking like back there, and it's been pretty quiet. They are doubling down on, this whole recent qualm and this brush up between President Trump and Elon Musk. But as far as the executive orders, we are left in the dark with those kinds of things. We don't know until he signs them.
All right, interesting. Well, we'll be waiting for that. Yeah. It's going to happen 12:30 Central for those executive orders. Now, when it comes to what's happening with Elon and Trump, and you said, you go into the back, you kind of check the vibe at the White House. What's the word on how Susie Wiles has been taking all of this? Because a lot of people say that this reserved reaction from Trump is pretty much probably from Susie Wiles. Is that what you're hearing? And how is Susie Wiles, the chief of staff, taking all this?
Well, I think that due to the fact that this White House wants to focus on the positives and wants to really just not let this become a distraction from what the true message is, which is that we need to pass this big, beautiful bill. That's kind of the energy that I'm getting. And I went to the back and actually spoke to Stephen Chung, and I was like, hey, what's kind of the mood on the ground back here? And he was saying, let's just keep the focus on what this is all about at the end of the day, which is passing this bill. It's making sure that Americans, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, funding for the border wall, deporting and 1 million illegal aliens per year. Let's keep the focus on that, because if we start to divert and start to, get our emotions involved the way Elon Musk has, it can lead to an even worse situation. So on getting the pulse on Susie Wiles, not entirely sure how she's feeling, but President Trump is handling this with an immense amount of grace as of right now.
And I'm sure the name Elon has been brought up a lot at the White House, but has the name Epstein been brought up in the White House?
Yeah, I mean, we're hearing that from mainstream media and their reporting as well. But people can speculate all they want. And of course, the lawyer in that situation put out a post on X saying, there's nothing damaging. There's nothing damning in this report. President Trump, of course, banned Epstein from his Mar-a-Lago club years ago after learning that Epstein is not the best guy to be hanging around with. So people can speculate. They can make up all these rumors. It seems like a personal jab that holds no weight. This isn't the first time that Elon Musk has supposedly made these kinds of claims against people that he doesn't like. So we got to see how this is going to play out. But at the end of the day, President Trump has a message and he has a responsibility to fix this country, and that's exactly what he's going to do.
Yeah, and he's been busy this week. I mean, if we rewind a few days before all the drama, we had a travel ban instated in this country once again. This is the travel ban 2.0, 19 countries, 12 completely banned, was it 7 restricted. What are you hearing about the travel ban, and what's the reaction been, especially from the leftists in the press circles?
Yeah, they're trying to call this another race baiting thing, and that President Trump is trying to restrict people from coming to this country just because. And that's not exactly the case. I mean, we saw what happened in Colorado with that hate-fueled attack from this Egyptian national. Yep. And the president wants to make sure that national security is first and foremost his number one priority, whether that's securing the border and banning, foreign nationals from coming into this country. And I took a look at this, exit and overstay survey that was taken back in 2023. And some of these countries like Chad, Haiti, Afghanistan, the nationals that are coming into these countries, they're overstaying by like more than 50% at a time.
It's crazy.
Which is crazy. And that's student visa and, tourist and business visa combined. So when you take those numbers and you're seeing, who is not really respecting our immigration laws in this country, it's about time that we start implementing these bans. And under the previous administration, we were just letting anybody come in without any sort of vetting process.
Yep.
So, if you're serious about illegal immigration, we should be serious about those who've been overstaying their visas. And that's exactly what President Trump has been doing.
Now, you mentioned the Boulder, Colorado terror suspect. There was a lot of news about his family who had also overstayed their visas. And one of his daughters actually got a scholarship, and, you can make the argument that it was taken from an American citizen. But a judge stepped in. The judge looks like the old man from the movie Up. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but he's a dead ringer for it. What are you hearing from the White House on the hold on deporting that family? Because it would seem like it's open and shut because they overstayed their visas.
Well, the president's going to do what he's been trying to do this entire time and trying to do what the people voted for, essentially. I mean, we elected President Trump. We didn't elect these judges in these black robes here to stifle and stunt the president's opportunities to be doing what the people voted for. And he has a mandate and he's going to do it. This isn't the first time that we've seen these kinds of situations involving these judges. And it's certainly not going to be the last time. I mean, this is only the beginning. And we've all predicted that, too, when it comes to, the president's mandate with these deportations. They find these deportations to be inhumane, to be separating families, and that's certainly not the case. We got to protect our own citizens here at home. So
Amen.
I think the family's going to be deported at the end of the day. We got to make sure they're on a flight back to Egypt, and they're going to stay there because this guy was a terror threat, is a terror threat, and will continue to be a threat for as long as he's on American soil.
Yeah, and I made the point yesterday. It's like, I have 4 little kids. I can't poop in my house without somebody popping in. So how did the family not know anything was going on? I have a hard time believing that. I'm raising my kids to be Christian. So how is this father not raising his kids to be radical Islamists? I think that those are honest questions and real questions that we need to ask. There was a lot of stuff happening at the White House this week. If you blinked, you missed it. But there was also a phone call with Vladimir Putin and a phone call with Xi Jinping. What are you hearing about both of those calls with those world leaders?
Well, I know they were both very productive, Chris. I mean, he started off the week with the phone call with Russia, talking about trade and discussing, the ongoing war with Ukraine. Putin made it clear that he wants to respond and is going to respond to the latest attacks carried out by Ukraine. So that's what he's going to do. And I know the two also had a conversation regarding Iran and Iran trying to obtain nuclear weapons and making sure that is never a possibility in the near future. The phone call with Xi Jinping also being very productive. It was about an hour and a half long. The phone call with President Putin being about an hour and 15 minutes long. So still very long phone calls, very productive. We also know that Xi Jinping invited President Trump and the First Lady to China. And I believe that President Trump's team, he's going to be deploying Scott Bessent, Howard Lutnick, and Jameson Greer to be meeting with China's team to discuss ongoing trade negotiations as well. So it seems like they're coming to a conclusion here regarding trade. We know that President Trump has been implementing these huge amounts of percentages of tariffs on China, making sure that we have our own production right here at home. But he's the master of deal making. He's a businessman. He knows exactly how to handle countries like China. And that's exactly what he's doing. So both really positive conversations. Of course, with Vladimir Putin, he said that this is not exactly a peace-talking conversation. Is it a step in the right direction? Perhaps. But we'll have to see how this plays out because I don't really see the war with Russia and Ukraine ending anytime soon.
No, especially given what we saw with Ukraine and the drone attack. Has there been any talk at the White House about the mysterious timing of the visits of Lindsey Graham and Mike Pompeo before that drone attack took place in Russia? Are there any conversations about the planning for that attack and if the U.S. was or was not involved?
Well, the president receives his intelligence briefing behind closed doors. Unfortunately, those kinds of conversations aren't released to us in the press. But, it really makes you wonder, really makes you question some of these Republican leaders who do these kinds of things and meet with these kinds of officials and spend thousands of dollars on hotel rooms in Ukraine. It really makes you wonder what the true motive is at the end of the day. And I'm sure the president knows and is briefed on the motives and the reasoning behind it. But I'm pretty sure that he, keeps his allies close and just keeps a very close watch as to what these players are up to, because it can't be anything good.
Right. We're talking with Monica Paige. She is our White House reporter from Turning Point USA and Frontline. She's one of the best. With all the hoopla going on about Elon Musk and Donald Trump, I think that we're kind of losing the big, beautiful bill in the mist, right? So what is the latest on the big, beautiful bill? Where does the Senate stand with things? And are we looking like that July 4th deadline is going to be achieved?
I'm not really sure at all, honestly. I mean, we're hoping the July 4th deadline is achieved, but you know, a lot of Republicans really have to come together and take a look at all the benefit that this bill is going to provide for the American people. I mean, I've previously named out a bunch of amazing things this bill is going to do. I mean, especially the no tax on tips. That's a huge selling point. The president met with the Fraternal Order of Police yesterday, and that's one of the first things that came out of their mouth was no tax on overtime. These guys work crazy hours throughout their entire career. They deserve no tax on overtime. And of course, a lot of people in the service industry, the president was trying to make an appeal to them. But you have to understand that this bill is going to provide everything that the president campaigned on and ran on and everything that the American people voted for. So, if this bill is not going to pass, I think the American people are going to be very upset because this is what they voted for.
Yeah.
So we're hoping that it can get passed. I'm hoping that, the Senate can come together, especially with those Republicans who are not a fan of the bill, to just, find some common ground and realize, hey, this is what the president campaigned on. This is what they voted for. Let's pass this thing.
Yeah, and a lot of people pointing out President Trump really didn't campaign on cutting spending. He just wasn't one of the campaign promises, and the majority of the campaign promises are in that bill. That's the vehicle for getting his agenda done. With everything going on, are there stories that we're missing, Monica? Every week I ask you this question because you're so in tune with what's happening at the White House. What are some stories that you think deserve a little bit more attention than the press has been giving?
So I did a story this past week. It's kind of old news, but it's a story that totally went under the radar, and that's President Trump's administration, especially in the DHS sector of things, reopening the Voice Office. And for those that don't know what the Voice Office is, it's for victims of illegal alien crime and those who have, been ignored.
When this is the first time I'm hearing of this. So yeah, please, fill us in.
Yeah. So I believe it was back in 2015, 2017, when the president was first in office, he opened the Voice Office for families and those who have been affected by illegal alien crime, those who are victims of crime carried out by these illegal aliens, by immigrants who are in this country that have no business being here. And it provides them with the resources for, therapy or just a platform to track their perpetrators' status on immigration and their court status and all the legal proceedings involving that. And what was interesting is that the Biden administration in 2021 completely eradicated it and shuttered its doors and changed the entire department as a whole for illegal aliens who have been mistreated in these detention centers. So completely warping this office to something that put the American people aside and prioritized illegal aliens in these detention centers. So if they were being mistreated or there was any sort of misconduct in these detention centers, these illegal aliens could report it. And those who work in immigration law can kind of pounce on the opportunity to represent these illegal aliens in court and make a case for them. So that was very interesting to hear about and to learn about. I was doing some digging on it. And just recently, just about a month or two ago, Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem reopened it and, brought in the family members of Laken Riley, Jocelyn Nungray, and all those victims who have experienced death or harm due at the hands of illegal aliens and said, hey, we want to give you a voice. You can speak on this, and thus reopen the Voice Office. And I think it's a wonderful thing. And when it was implemented back in President Trump's first term, it was utilized. People were using it. They fielded over 700 calls, I believe, within the first couple of years of its opening. And for some reason, the Biden administration decided to close it because they said that migrants linked with crime is not a good look for illegal aliens. So they said, to hell with it, and they opened a completely different office. But now that's no longer, and we finally have the Voice Office re-implemented and open for business. So
listen, I'm so glad that you're locked in at the White House and you can share those stories that the mainstream media is not sharing. This is one of the best things that you bring to the table, Monica, and we appreciate you joining us every single week here at this time. Where can we find you? Where can we keep up with your news during the week?
Thank you so much, Chris. You can find me on Instagram and X at Monica Paige TV. And also, I'm speaking at the Young Women's Leadership Summit.
Let's go
next weekend. So
I know.
It's very exciting. I know.
So behind the scenes, when they said that you were speaking, I was so excited for you. I think that you were just going to absolutely crush. Young Women's Leadership Summit is happening in Dallas, Texas, at the Gaylord, and that's next weekend already. Jeez, you'll be able to watch the whole thing live on Rumble too. So you'll be able to see Monica Paige main stage giving a speech. Have you written the speech yet? Are you a little nervous?
I'm pretty nervous. I have never given a speech to this extent before, but I'll give you a little bit of an exclusive. I'm trying to get Caroline Levitt, our press secretary, a video message to present to the audience. So
Let's
I
go.
hope
I
that it
love
comes
it.
to fruition.
I love it.
Yeah.
Listen, you're going to crush. I think out of all the speakers at YWLS, you're the most I'm excited to see.
Thank you so much, Chris. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well.